Welcome to Sendlane's Shopify Impact Series. Surpass the competition, crush your goals, and win more e-commerce revenue. For this episode, please join us in welcoming Jimmy Kim from Sendlane.
Welcome to the Shopify Impact Series. We're so grateful for you joining our hundreds of other merchants that are looking to surpass the competition, crush their goals, and win more e-commerce revenue. My name is Jimmy Kim, CEO and co-founder of Sendlane, and today I'm going to be speaking to you all about advanced strategies to increase LTV and create repeat purchases using email and SMS marketing. Now, to begin, I'll be introducing two frameworks that I like to call the MVC framework and the AOR framework. And now, I'm going to explain exactly what those acronyms mean and exactly how they break down into your business as well, too. So let's go ahead and dive right into the slides and the meat and potatoes of this presentation. All right, so first things first, I want to start off with some stats because I think these stats will help kind of move your head and kind of thinking about what is required in order to be successful, and the strategies that I'm about to apply require you to have that open mind that you're going to need in order to make sure that you can apply these effectively in your business. So remember, first things first, it's 25 times harder to acquire a new customer than to retain a new customer. And everything I'm going to be talking about is about retention, because everything about email and SMS, though used for a lot of things, at the core is still a tool of retention marketing. And so what I'm teaching is how to maximize those 25 times harder, right? If it's 25 times harder to acquire a customer, well, you've got to be thinking about that really, really clearly. Then the second thing that I think is even more interesting is an existing customer is likely to spend 31% more on a purchase than a normal customer or a new customer, essentially, right? So if you got a $100 average order value in your business, that means a new existing customer will spend $131 per that order. And that to me is very attractive as well too. And in fact, when you start breaking down the numbers, you look at that first purchase, the second purchase, 27% of people will come back for that second. Then 45% of those people will come back for that third. And then 54% of those people will come back for a third purchase or more. Well, think about that. Why wouldn't you want to maximize on the current customer base that you have today? And last but not least is repeat buying is always about 17% more per transaction on average, if not more, obviously, and that's always great to see as well too. So today I want to start off by introducing you what I call the segmenting with the 20-60-20 rule using MVC. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the heck, Jimmy, is MVC? Well, let's talk about it real quick. MVC is most valuable customer. It's kind of like MVP. Now, the thing about when you're looking at your audience, and a lot of times when we're doing our marketing, we start realizing that you've got all these core segmented audiences. You're not really sure what to do with segmentation because, well, many people will tell you, oh, go segment on this, categories, products, and everything. And sometimes your audience is too small, there is no audience, or it's just way too big, right? And so what this framework will really allow you to do is identify the customers within your business. I don't care if you've only got 1,000 customers or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000 customers. This framework works day in and day out. Now, the one thing that I cannot give you today is how your audience is split up. Now, for me, the easiest way that I start off with and the most rudimentary way is to use money, dollars, figures, right? That's the easiest way to kind of look at that purchase history. And what I'm doing is taking your customers and saying, well, I want to pool my people into three buckets, a 20%, a 60%, and a 20% of people. And the idea behind it is to really have a clear identification. So we're going to use a real world example while I'm kind of sharing this. And while we're talking about this, we're gonna kind of walk you through it. And hopefully by the end of this first part of this exercise, you'll understand exactly how to use the MVC framework in your business as well too. So jumping into segment one is your number one. It's your 20%, your non-profitable. All right, so let's pretend your average customer lifetime value is $100. I'm using an easy number for me, and that's the way thing. And look at this bell curve on this screen right now that you're seeing. See in the middle there? Imagine that's $100, okay? And now do the math. 20% of your bottom and then 20% of your top. Everyone else is sitting in that 100% bell curve, right? So realistically, number-wise, maybe about $60 or below would fall into segment number one, which is your 20% non-profitable people. These are usually your one-time buyers, low CLTV. They came and bought one product, maybe for a present, whatever that might be. The average order value is low, and most likely, I'm guessing, they probably don't engage with you as much. They don't probably check your off emails, and they don't probably they don't make as many purchases, right? And I know you'll get a couple here and there. I'm sure you can point me to some examples that you might have. But the realistic thing is that's your segment based on the data. and your segment starts to come up real fast, and that's your non-profitable area. Because if your average order value is $100 or your average lifetime value is $100, you should be thinking about how to increase that. And well, if you've got the bottom 20% dragging you down, it's your job to kind of move that up the needle, and you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. Then you've got the second segment, your 60%. These are your average profitable buyers. These are the people you've identified in your business as your average order value. They fall under all the buckets of the LTV to make sure that they're worth the money they are. The majority of customers fall that are usually happy. They spend an average AOV. They engage with you with your communication, and they might buy again. And your goal, obviously, as a marketer, is to make them buy again ultimately, right? So that's where I think about this as a really important thing that you've got to be thinking about when you segment. And I'm going to put it together here. You're going to start to understand this in just a second here and give you that full picture. But segment 3, surprise, surprise, is your 20% average buyers, right? Your best buyers, right? The most profitable buyers, ones that are repeat buying, will spend the most out of it. They're your VIPs, your ambassadors, your brand ambassadors, your most loyal fans ultimately. And you really need to think about this, because you realize when you start segmenting your customers like this, you ultimately create 3 unique buckets. And that full picture is very simple. Look at this, right? On the screen when you're looking at, you've got 20, 60, and 20%. Now you've got 3 customers in 3 different segments of your business, right? So now that's the first step of it. And that makes you start thinking about it even more, because I know what you're thinking in your head right now. Because if you're like me, you're already going, okay, Jimmy, you've given me these LTVs and I use that, but what about this product and cart and frequency and all that? Well, guess what? The beautiful part of what we do with the MVC framework is it's up to you and your business, and they're independent based on your business. If you're a drop shipping business and you are just kind of churning and burning really fast, well, this framework changes completely different versus if you're a single product D2C brand, you might have to look at this a completely unique way, because you might be selling accessories, refills, products, whatever the subscription is as well too. And you've got to start bringing your buyers down. Now, I could see this and saying, take my subscription people and throw them into one MVC framework, take my one-time buyers, put them into another MVC. That's the way to do it. Or I could say, I want to do it by gender, or I want to do it by segment of the country. Whatever that means to you, you've got to kind of put that framework into your business. Now we're going to talk about application behind it, right? Because behind that means that you've got to start applying this into your business, which is where it comes with how do you drive those goals. No marketing strategy is complete without a goal. I've given you a strategy of identification. Now we're going to start talking about how to set those goals to use it using what I call the AOR. AOR is leveraging MVC framework to drive goals. So AOR is acquisition, optimization, and retention. It's the 3 goals that you should be thinking about, and every part of your MVC of your 20, 60, 20 needs to fit inside of this bucket, and everything you're doing with your marketing strategy should be mimicking or giving the, the roadmap for you on the goal setting of exactly what you should be thinking about when you're using this as well too. So acquisition, finding the right customers. I think the biggest thing about a business when you're thinking about a D2C brand is obviously acquiring the right customer. It's not about finding all customers. It's about finding the right customers, the ones that really need your product, want your product, and they're really at the average order value or better, or your LTVs kind of pan out. You should know this data, obviously. And secondly, you've got to make sure you've got a great onboarding strategy as well too. And that onboarding strategy is not just, send him a welcome email, but creating a better customer experience, creating that connection, creating that loyalty early, and creating that rapport as fast as you can too, which is where you're seeing here with website visitor, conversion, and LTV. And in that acquisition, you've got 4 steps. It's very simple, right? They've got your pop-up, your funnels, whatever, spin the wheel, etc., intent, collecting their information. Then you've got some great copy, right? I can't stress it enough. If you've ever heard me talk before, I always talk about copy, because I believe words are what sell, not the pretty images, not the way that your images are, not the text. It's the words. If you look at text, it's a simple, effective use case that you have to look at with SMS. You can generally only send text-based SMS. Maybe you'll add 1 image, but they convert great, right? Well, the reality is it's all about rock solid, strong copy. Is it exciting a person? Is it educating them? And is it edifying them with the information they need? Then you've got to make sure you've got your product purchase, right? Targeted communication after they've purchased. God, it's not just about sending an email, a newsletter, or pop-up, whatever, about just the basics of what they just purchased, but being able to go through your goals and brand, story, mission, giving instructions, use cases, social proof. There's so much you've got to do through that acquisition funnel to and truly onboard the customer into your business as well too. That sets you up for optimization. Well, look, you've got this flow going. I know what everyone wants to do is set and forget. Well, the reality of things is you can't set and forget anything. you've got to realize that you've got to set goals and you've got to start optimizing on those, because you as a marketer can always get better when you're doing these kind of things, right? So when you're going through this, you're experimenting. Now, the typical ones that you might be thinking about is, opens, clicks, revenues. These are the optimization or the experimentation goals that you might be using within your business. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to just stop there just based on that. Where are you testing, I'm sure? And these are the places you've got to be testing. Subject line, pre-header, body, CTA, timing, sender names. All this information is how you start really deriving who your customer is when they react. When you start really doing this in full scale, what you'll really quickly realize is your 20, 60, and 20%, all three of those different markers will act very differently. And you should not be sending those people the same email ever. They should all be getting different emails. Your 20% is going to be about more hard-hitting, trying to get their wallet out, where your 60% is all about getting into the second purchase, but your 20% on top is about nurturing them and continuing to create brand loyalty. And when you're doing that, well, you've got to be testing all of that, because I don't care who you are, no matter how good you are at marketing, you need to test, because the data doesn't lie, right? And that's what you need to make sure that you get to. So what you need to do is you need to continue testing as part of the second step, which is optimization, right? And the goal is very simple, right? And the goal is very simple, and this is your aha moment. Your goal is to maximize CLTV, and that means that you want to take the 20% of those people and get them into the 60% bucket. You want those 60% of people to get them into the top 20% bucket. And ultimately, all that's going to do, take your bell curve, and we're going to slide it over. As your LTV increases, your 20-60-20 changes and evolves, and your optimization is going to allow you to do that as well, too. And just for last but not least, here's some ways that you can think about how to increase those retention. It's very simple, from initial cart to the initial visit to cart. You've got to make sure that you've got a cohesive customer experience where they can not only get emails from you, not only get communications from you, but also come back the other way and communicate with you, follow you, and start to create that loyalty behind you. Sharing your brand mission and story early and often. I can't stress this enough. One of the things that I talk about always is that you've got to over-communicate in this digital world. People are taking their phones and browsing their emails on their phone. They're checking their emails, and they've got 40 of them to look at, and they're just going to quickly look through it. Unfortunately, they're going to miss your brand story and mission 99% of the time, and it's your job to continue to push on that. And I know what you might be thinking right off the back is, oh, well, I share that already way too much. Well, the reality is it's not overly shared. You got to be able to take that information and continuously share it, and that's really important. Be clear and consistent. I can't be. That's just as simple as it gets. Be clear and consistent, and always create value. Don't market because you're marketing just because you need to market because your boss told you or you think you need to send an email. Market with a objective and goal. Everything I've talked to you about today in this MVC framework and AOR is all about identification on MVC and then an action optimization around the AOR side, and taking a person through a journey, taking those 20s to 60, 60 to 20, and really being able to create that kind of flow and being able to look back and see success happen in your business. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this first episode of Sendlane Shopify Impact Series. Stay tuned for the most talented industry friends and partners that we have. Try Now, Smile.io, GoValop, Hablo Apps, Shopping Gish, ShipBob, Brenzino, and Sea Monster Studios. Thank you for investing your time to make an impact in your business to improve your customer experience. I'm very excited to continue to watch myself. I hope you enjoyed my series today so far, and please look out for that next series introduction coming soon. Talk to you later.
We hope you enjoyed this episode by Jimmy Kim from Sendlane. See you on the next one.